Hello, this is Xbox Ahoy, and this is the bonus footage from my time with the PM63. Once again, I'll be going over some of the comments left on the main video on my Xbox Ahoy channel, and, answering questions and giving a rebuttal to some of the more contentious comments. First up, the Mad DUI says, Xbox Ahoy, what bitrate do you use to render your videos? Well, I render to Sony AVC MP4 at a bitrate of, for the high quality stuff at least, 15 megabits per second, which is pretty high, admittedly, but that's principally for archival purposes. Huge Gut asks, where did you get all the COD points to buy all this stuff? It's actually not that hard, if you just keep on playing, I play maybe, 3 games with each attachment, and I come away with a net profit easily doing that, even buying all the weapons. Before I prestiged, I had something like 250,000 COD points, without even thinking about it, really. Error SVK says, Stuart, don't you think that the stats of the SMGs and Black Ops are too repetitive, and there isn't much difference between them? Well, I do get sick and tired of saying 937.5 rounds per minute. I think, yeah, especially the low damage SMGs, there's not really too much to differentiate them. With Black Ops, though, the attachment options at least are pretty varied. There tends to be a different complement for each SMG, which is interesting at least. Beta Football says, Xbox Ahoy, if you were at a gun store that had every gun ever made in stock and you were allowed to buy one, and one only, which gun would you buy? Tough question. I suppose I'd probably go for a rifle of some sorts, and the traditionalist in me says, ooh, an FAL would be quite nice. But then the pragmatist says, well, maybe something a bit more modern. In the same vein, though, maybe like a Scar H, I think. Maybe not the most expensive option I could have picked, but it's a fine rifle. I'd have one of those. Maybe not the most accurate option either. But it's a nice versatile weapon. If you were forced to only have the one, then I'd be happy enough with that. Snow Leopard says, which COD game has your favourite soundtrack, Xbox Ahoy? And which is your favourite game soundtrack of all time? Of the CODs, I'm going to have to say MW2, simply for the Hans Zimmer influence. As far as best game overall, oh no, that's a tough one. Oh, I don't know. One of the more standout games that I can think of at the moment would probably be Iridium 2 by Kraft Gold. That had some absolutely fantastic music, I love that. Master of Murder inquires, who is your favourite pizza company, and what toppings do you prefer? Toppings is easy, I'm definitely a pepperoni man. As far as favourite pizza company is concerned, I don't know, I'm at a loss. There are no decent pizza companies around here. In fact, the only one that delivers that's a major chain is Domino's. And I'm loath to say Domino's, but I honestly can't think of anyone who makes a better pizza. Which is a shame, because, Domino's are okay, but they're not spectacular. Advocado Fool says, hello Stu, just wondering, are you an Android or an iPhone guy? I'm not massive on the mobile phone or cell phone front at all. I do have one, I bought one for my LA trip, and it's an Android. I have a Sony Xperia Play. It isn't the best phone, but it does have an inbuilt control pad, which makes it really good for emulators. Pi Community Channel says, do you prefer your name when shortened to be pronounced as Stew, sounding like stew, or Stew, sounding like stew? I prefer the STU spelling, but I prefer the stew pronunciation. That's what I've generally gone with anyway. LAJ101 says, Stuart, have you heard of Ben Yahtzee Croshaw? Of course, yes, very familiar with him and Zero Punctuation and all the rest of it. I think I've seen most of the episodes of Zero Punctuation, although I haven't watched many of the recent ones, actually. I've kind of fallen out of the habit of the Wednesday uploads. The Man23 asks, did you enjoy your time with the PM63? It was hands down my favourite SMG before the FAMAS patch. Actually, I did have rather a good time with it. A lot of people in the comments, they were kind of slating it, saying, oh, it's just a statistically inferior MPL. There's nothing special about it, it's rubbish. Well, actually, I don't know, there's something about it. It was one of the easier weapons to get clips with of late, so no complaints from me anyway. C. Riley Treble 07 says, if you don't finish this series by the time Black Ops 2 comes out, will you end it? Well, first of all, it is my ambition now to finish the Black Ops guides. I'm aware at the current pace of output, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. But, of course, I'm well aware of how many are left and how many upload slots I have, and so I will be taking measures to ensure that I do finish. This probably means at some point I'll wrap up the Weapons of Modern Warfare and then focus solely on Black Ops, on the run-up to Black Ops 2. In any case, rest assured, if Black Ops 2 is out, that will be the game that I'm playing primarily, and that will probably be the focus of my channel. But, again, you know, we'll see what happens. I'm not committing to anything come November, as there are all too many variables, so we shall see anyway. Blackheart1996 says, because of your professional-looking videos, experience in video production and graphic design, as well as your talent in voice acting, have you ever been approached by a broadcast company like the BBC, Stuart? Actually, no. In fact, the only serious job offer I've ever had was from Activision. Which, well, there you go. I think the traditional media, television, are generally pretty hesitant to engage on stuff regarding like, video games. Because it's quite a niche interest and they're not really willing to take risks on stuff like that. So I'm not holding my breath on appearing on a major network, but I'm quite happy with the audience size on YouTube. Morning Glory says, I know it's not 1995 and this is a music question, but Oasis or Blur? It has to be Oasis every single time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Blur, but they're a little bit insipid. The Yeah, I'm Alright inquires, Stuart, red or blue? If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, then it was red for me on the original Game Boy. And to answer the next inevitable question, Charmander. Ghost6 asks, Xbox Ahoy, did you use a different capture device to record the gameplay clips using this video? The quality looks a bit better than the usual. I'm currently using the Blackmagic Intensity Pro, and I have been using that pretty much all this year. I've been using it since the first episode of Time to Kill, and I don't think my quality settings have changed much since then. So it hasn't changed recently, no. I suppose it's possible that YouTube have adjusted their codecs or processing technique. Alright, time for one more. Uberic says, Hey Stuart, have you ever thought about maybe using clips from your subscribers in order to lighten the workload a bit? I've considered it, but honestly I think it would actually be more difficult to corral a multitude of clips from different people than it would be to use one single source, because you're dealing with different capture devices, different file formats, and you've got to transfer these massive files from all over the place into one single location. Honestly, I don't think it's worth the effort. When I can just hop onto any given card and, you know, within a couple of hours have enough footage for pretty much anything. So that's about all the footage I've got for this week. And you might have noticed I've not left you with a black screen, but instead I have dug out through my archives a video taken of my cats. This was a couple of months ago, I think. Ted's fur isn't fully grown back. It's almost fully grown back now. You can just about see where he was shaved. To answer the inevitable questions about what was wrong with Ted, just after Christmas of 2011, he came in one day and he had terrible pain in his rear end. So we took him to the vets, and over the course of a couple of weeks, we had him on a variety of painkillers, and we had X-rays done. And it turns out it was avascular bone necrosis of the femoral head, essentially insufficient blood supply to the top of his bone. So his bones were weak and ultimately broke. And we had to get a procedure called a femoral head ossectomy, which is basically just removing the top of the ball joint. And once it heals, it kind of forms a new artificial joint. And he's obviously not as mobile as a cat that hasn't had hip surgery, but he's doing okay. He can jump, he can run, he can do all the usual cat-like things. So he's fine now.